Question 1. In light of recent developments, Maria is tasked with replacing a section of copper pipe supplying a potable water system in a commercial building. The main shutoff is located in the basement, but the line serves several upper floors. What is the most critical step before cutting into the pipe to ensure worker safety and prevent water damage? A. Fully drain the system and verify pressure relief. B. Install a temporary bypass to maintain supply. C. Use heat-resistant shields during soldering. D. Wrap nearby joints with wet rags. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Draining the system and verifying pressure relief ensures that cutting or soldering will not cause sudden discharge, water hammer, or injury, while a bypass B may maintain supply. It's irrelevant for immediate safety. Heat shields C and wet rags D protect from heat damage during soldering but do not prevent uncontrolled water release. OSHA and IT guidelines prioritize eliminating stored energy, water pressure before pipe work. Question 2. When evaluating the merits of different piping materials for a hot water boiler loop, Samuel must choose between copper, PEX, and steel. Which factor most critically determines the choice in a high-temperature, closed-loop hydronic heating system? A. Resistance to UV degradation. B. Oxygen permeability of the pipe wall. C. Cost of fittings and connectors. D. Ease of bending and routing. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Oxygen permeability is critical in closed-loop hydronic systems because dissolved oxygen corrodes metal components. PEX with oxygen barrier or copper steel is preferred. UV resistance A matters for outdoor use but not for enclosed boiler piping. Cost C and bendability D affect labor and material budgets but are secondary to preventing corrosion per ASME boiler code and hydronic design standards. Question 3. Throughout the course of a remodel, Liam is rerouting condensate drain lines from multiple rooftop AC units into a shared drain. What must he ensure to prevent cross-contamination and maintain code compliance? A. Slope each line at least 4 inch per foot toward the main drain. B. Install a common condensate pump to handle all units. C. Provide an air gap or trap for each individual unit's drain. D. Use PVC pipe rated for high temperature discharge. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Individual traps or air gaps prevent cross-contamination and ensure each unit drains properly without drawing air or water from another, while slope A is important. Without traps, siphoning can occur. A shared pump B is not mandatory unless gravity drainage is impossible. PVC temperature rating D is relevant for hot condensate but not for typical AC units. IPA and IMC require trap air gap separation for each condensate source. Question 4. Based on the information from a site inspection, a high-rise building has recurring low water pressure at upper floors despite an adequate municipal supply. Which installation would most directly resolve the issue without overpressurizing lower floors? A. Install a variable speed booster pump with pressure sensors. B. Replace all riser pipes with larger diameter. C. Add an inline filter to remove debris. D. Install a gravity-fed storage tank on the roof. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A variable speed booster pump maintains consistent pressure at upper floors while sensors prevent excessive pressure at lower levels. Larger pipes B. Reduce friction loss but don't compensate for elevation. Head filters C. Address debris, not head pressure. Roof tanks D. Can work but require structural and maintenance considerations, often less efficient than booster systems per ASHRAE and IC best practices. Question 5. Under the assumption that a new gas furnace installation is ready for inspection, what is the primary purpose of conducting a pressure test on the gas lines before operation? A. To verify regulator performance under load. B. To confirm all joints are leak-free under working pressure. C. To determine if gas composition meets combustion requirements. D. To measure total sister ETU capacity. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Pressure testing confirms the integrity of all joints and fittings under specified test pressures before gas is introduced as required by NFPA 54. Regulator performance A is verified during operational checks, not static testing. Gas composition C is generally assumed from supplier specifications. BTU capacity D is calculated separately from pressure integrity tests. Question 6. By evaluating a residential plumbing layout, Sophia notes that multiple fixtures connect to a single wet vent. What is the main risk if the vent is undersized according to code? A. Increased noise in the drainage system. B. Slow drainage and frequent clogging. C. Water seal loss in traps due to siphonage. D. Backflow of sewage into fixtures. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Undersized vents cannot supply enough air to equalize pressure, causing siphonage and trap seal loss, leading to sewer gas intrusion. Noise. A. May occur but is secondary. Slow drainage. B. Can happen but is often due to blockage, not vent size alone. Backflow. D. Is typically caused by blockages or system pressure surges, not vent undersizing. Vent sizing charts ensure trap protection. Question 7. When analyzing a complaint of rusty water in a hydronic heating loop, Raj discovers the system uses non-barrier PEX tubing. What is the most likely reason for the corrosion in metal components? A. Electrolytic reaction between different metals. B. High pH levels in the system water. C. Oxygen diffusion through the tubing walls. D. Poor water circulation in the loop. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Non-barrier PEX allows oxygen diffusion, leading to oxidation and corrosion of ferrous components. Dissimilar metal corrosion. A. Requires different metals in contact. High pH. B. Affects scaling, not necessarily oxygen ingress. Poor circulation. D. Causes uneven heating, but not necessarily corrosion. ATIMF specifies oxygen barrier requirements for hydronic applications. Question 8. Given the circumstances, Benjamin is soldering copper refrigerant lines near a wall with flammable insulation. What is the best immediate safety control to reduce fire risk? A. Remove all insulation within 12 inches of the work area. B. Use a fire-resistant heat shield between flame and insulation. C. Apply flux only to prevent dripping solder. D. Keep a water spray bottle nearby for quick cooling. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Heat shields protect surrounding flammable materials from radiant and direct heat, meeting OSHA hot work safety practices. Removing insulation may be impractical in finished spaces. Flux use. C. Aids solder flow but doesn't address fire safety. Water bottles. D. Provide emergency cooling but are reactive, not preventive. NFPA and OSHA guidelines prioritize shielding and fire watches during hot work. Question 9. The most significant aspect of sizing a water heater for a multifamily dwelling is determining the A. Peak demand flow rate and required recovery rate. B. Average daily hot water usage per unit. C. Temperature rise between inlet and outlet water. D. Energy source cost and availability. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Proper sizing is based on peak demand flow and recovery rate to ensure adequate supply during high use periods as per ASHRAE and IPAC guidelines. Average usage. B. Is useful for estimating operating cost, not capacity sizing. Temperature rise. C. Is a design parameter but insufficient alone. Energy cost. D. Affects operating expenses, not initial sizing criteria. Question 10. During the process of installing a chilled water loop, Olivia notices expansion joints are missing in a long straight run of steel pipe. What is the likely consequence if the system operates without them? A. Decreased flow rate due to increased friction loss. B. Structural stress and possible pipe damage from thermal expansion. C. Increased corrosion due to stagnant water pockets. D. Reduced cooling efficiency from heat gain. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Steel expands and contracts with temperature. Without expansion joints, stress builds at anchors and supports, risking leaks or pipe rupture. Friction loss. A. Is unaffected by expansion joints. Stagnant water. C. Occurs with poor flow design, not lack of joints. Heat gain. D. Is influenced by insulation, not expansion management. ASM B.1 mandates thermal expansion compensation in long piping runs. Question 11. Considering the evidence, Carlos notices a boiler's pressure relief valve frequently discharges water even though system pressure appears normal. What is the most probable cause and proper corrective action? A. The valve is oversized and should be replaced with a smaller one. B. Thermal expansion is causing pressure spikes. Install an expansion tank. C. The system pressure gauge is faulty and giving false readings. D. The relief valve is leaking due to corrosion and must be cleaned. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Thermal expansion in closed hot water systems raises pressure temporarily beyond relief valve settings. Installing an expansion tank accommodates volume changes and stabilizes pressure, preventing frequent discharges. Oversized valves A. Discharge less frequently, not more. Faulty gauges C. Don't cause actual discharges. Corroded valves D. Leak steadily, not in pressure-triggered bursts. Boiler codes ASME emphasize expansion tanks to avoid relief valve cycling. Question 12. From a practical standpoint, while installing gas lines for a furnace, Janine detects a faint gas odor near a newly braced joint. What should be her immediate next step? A. Tighten the joint further to seal the leak. B. Shut off the gas supply and ventilate the area immediately. C. Apply soapy water to pinpoint the leak location. D. Light a small flame to verify the leak source. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Safety protocol requires shutting off the gas and ventilating to prevent fire or explosion risk. Tightening A without pressure relief can worsen leaks. Soapy water C is a diagnostic step, but only after gas supply is safely off. Lighting a flame D near a leak is extremely dangerous and violates OSHA and NFPA safety standards. Immediate evacuation and notification are critical steps. Question 13. In terms of proper condensate drainage installation, MARC must ensure the slope of PVC drain lines from an AC unit is adequate. What is the minimum recommended slope to prevent standing water and clogging? A1, 8 inch per foot. B1, 4 inch per foot. C1, 2 inch per foot. D, 1 inch per foot. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A slope of at least 4 inch per foot ensures sufficient gravity flow to prevent water pooling, which leads to clogs and bacterial growth. A slope less than this A risks standing water. Higher slopes C, D may increase flow but are unnecessary and can cause noise or pipe damage. IMCANIC specify 4 inch minimum for condensate drains for proper system function and maintenances. Question 14. Throughout the course of troubleshooting low hot water temperature in a residential system, Lina discovers the thermostatic mixing valve is set correctly but still delivers lukewarm water. Which issue is most likely causing this? A. Sediment buildup inside the valve restricting flow. B. Incorrect piping arrangement causing bypass flow. C. A faulty thermostat in the water heater. D. Using PEX piping with poor heat retention. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. A faulty thermostat fails to maintain water heater temperature despite correct mixing valve settings. A sediment A restricts flow but less likely to affect temperature. Bypass piping B causes mixing problems but usually noticeable by fluctuating temperature. PEX D has good heat retention. A pipe type alone won't cause lukewarm water. Diagnosing controls per manufacturer guidelines is critical in case. Question 15. Under the assumption that a plumber is pressure testing newly installed natural gas piping at 10 psi, what is the maximum allowable pressure drop during a 10-minute test for the system to pass? A. No pressure drop allowed. B. 1 psi drop maximum. C. 3 psi drop maximum. D. 5 psi drop maximum. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. According to NFPA 54 and IC, pressure tests at 10 psi allow a maximum pressure drop of 5 psi in 10 minutes, indicating system integrity. No drop A is ideal but unrealistic. 1 psi or 3 psi drops B, C are stricter than codes require but often used for safety margins. Exceeding 5 psi drop suggests leaks that must be repaired before approval. Question 16. Given the circumstances, a technician must determine why a newly installed condensate drain line from a furnace frequently clogs. Which installation mistake is most likely causing this? A. Using copper piping instead of PVC for condensate lines. B. Improper slope less than required minimum. C. Failure to insulate the drain line in cold areas. D. Not installing a trap at the furnace drain outlet. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. A trap at the furnace condensate drain prevents air pressure changes that can impede drainage and cause clogging. Copper A or PVC both work if properly installed. Slope B affects flow, but absence of a trap D often causes drainage failure. Insulation C prevents freezing but doesn't cause clogs. IMC requires traps in condensate lines to ensure consistent drainage. Question 17. Taking into account the need for accurate pressure measurement during system diagnostics, which instrument is best suited for measuring low-pressure differentials in a hydronic heating system? A. Analog burden tube gauge. B. Digital manometer. C. Mercury column manometer. D. Pressure transducer with digital readout. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Digital manometers provide precise, easy-to-read low-pressure differential measurements with high accuracy, ideal for troubleshooting hydronic systems. Burden gauges A are less accurate at low pressures. Mercury manometers C are bulky and hazardous. Pressure transducers D are often part of control systems but require data acquisition tools. Selecting the right instrument improves diagnostics and system efficiency. Question 18. In the context of a hydronic heating system, Miguel observes that the circulator pump cycles frequently even when thermostats are satisfied. What is the most likely cause and best corrective measure? A. Air trapped in the system. Perform proper bleeding and venting. B. Faulty thermostat wiring causing intermittent signals. C. Incorrect pump sizing leading to cavitation. D. Excessive thermal expansion causing pressure fluctuations. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Air trapped in hydronic loops causes noise, pressure instability, and frequent pump cycling. Proper bleeding vents air, restoring normal operation per ASHRAE guidelines. Faulty wiring, B. May cause pump issues but less likely cyclical operation. Cavitation, C. Damages pumps but doesn't cause frequent cycling. Thermal expansion, D. Affects pressure but is managed by expansion tanks, not pump cycling. Question 19. Given the circumstances, Ella is sizing pipes for a new commercial chilled water system. What is the primary reason for selecting larger diameter piping than the minimum code requirements? A. To reduce initial material costs. B. To minimize friction loss and pumping energy. C. To ease installation and accommodate future changes. D. To comply with local plumbing code mandates. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Larger pipe diameter reduces velocity, lowering friction loss and pump energy consumption, improving efficiency per ASHRAE and IC. Cost A usually increases with larger pipes. Installation ease C varies and isn't primary sizing factor. Code D specifies minimum sizes, but oversizing is often strategic for performance and life cycle savings. Question 20. From a historical standpoint, why has copper remained a preferred material for refrigerant lines in HVACR systems despite the availability of alternatives? A. Copper is easier to install than flexible plastic tubing. B. Copper provides excellent corrosion resistance and thermal conductivity. C. Copper pipes have the lowest cost per foot. D. Copper allows easier adaptation to various refrigerants without brazing. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Copper's corrosion resistance, durability, and high thermal conductivity make it ideal for refrigerant lines, ensuring long life and efficient heat transfer. Installation ease is true but secondary. Copper is more expensive, C, than plastics. Brazing is required regardless, D. Industry standards and HEPA regulations recommend copper for reliable refrigerant piping. Question 21. With respect to soldering techniques, what is the most critical factor to ensure a strong leak-free joint in HVAC copper tubing? A. Using lead-based solder for superior bonding. B. Preheating the pipe before applying solder. C. Cleaning and fluxing the joint surfaces thoroughly. D. Applying solder before heating the joint. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Cleaning and applying flux removes oxidation and ensures solder flows uniformly for strong joints per ATM standards. Lead-based solder A is banned in potable water systems. Preheating B is important but insufficient alone. Solder applied before heating D won't properly flow or bond. Proper prep is key to avoid leaks and joint failure. Question 22. Among the various pressure testing methods, why is A pneumatic pressure test often considered more hazardous than a hydrostatic test. A pneumatic tests require more water, leading to flooding risks. B. Compressed air can cause explosive failure if a leak or rupture occurs. C. Pneumatic tests are slower and less precise than hydrostatic tests. D. Hydrostatic tests cannot detect small leaks. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Compressed air stores significant energy. A rupture can release the energy explosively, causing injury or damage, so pneumatic tests require strict safety protocols. Hydrostatic tests use water, which is incompressible and safer. What do you say applies to hydrostatic tests? Pneumatic tests can be quicker, C, and detect small leaks if properly conducted. Question 23. Considering the evidence, James is diagnosing a water heater that frequently trips the temperature and pressure relief valve. Which underlying problem is most consistent with this symptom? A. Excessive sediment buildup insulating the heating element. B. Faulty thermostatic mixing valve. C. Absence or failure of an expansion tank causing pressure spikes. D. Incorrect gas supply pressure. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Incorrect gas pressure can cause overheating, triggering the TP relief valve. Sediment A. Causes slow heating but rarely causes valve trips. Mixing valves. B. Regulate outlet water temp, not pressure. Expansion tanks. C. Help with pressure spikes, but overheating due to gas pressure is more directly linked to valve trips. Proper gas pressure per manufacturer specs is essential. Question 24. To what degree does installing a backwater valve in a building's drainage system reduce flood risk? A. It prevents sewage from backing up during municipal system overload. B. It increases drainage flow capacity under normal conditions. C. It reduces water hammer effects in supply lines. D. It automatically diverts stormwater to retention ponds. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Backwater valves close during municipal sewer surges, preventing sewage backup into basements or low-lying areas, protecting property and health. They do not increase normal flow capacity. B. Reduce water hammer. C. Or manage stormwater diversion. D. IPAC and local codes require backwater valves in flood-prone areas for this purpose. Question 25. While examining a failed condensate pump, Sophia notes corrosion on electrical terminals and reduced pump performance. Where's the best maintenance practice to prevent this issue? A. Use only stainless steel pumps in all installations. B. Regularly inspect and clean terminals and ensure proper enclosure sealing. C. Replace condensate pumps annually regardless of condition. D. Install a larger capacity pump to reduce runtime. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Electrical terminal corrosion usually results from moisture ingress. Cleaning and sealing enclosures prevent this. Stainless steel A is costly and not always necessary. Routine replacement. C. Waste resources. Larger pumps. D. Don't address corrosion causes. NFPA and OSHA standards emphasize preventive maintenance and proper equipment environment. Question 26. Through the lens of thermal expansion in copper piping, Maria is tasked with installing a 60-foot hot water line in a commercial HVAC system. The run passes through multiple fixed supports. Which strategy best prevents pipe stress during operation? A. Incorporating expansion loops at intervals. B. Using smaller pipe diameter to limit expansion. C. Anchoring both ends firmly without movement. D. Increasing wall thickness of the pipe. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Copper expands when heated, 0.98 in index. Expansion loops absorb this movement, preventing stress on joints. ICSEC 308. Smaller diameter. B. Doesn't address expansion rate. Anchoring both ends. C. Causes stress concentration. Increased wall thickness. D. Resists pressure, not thermal movement. Industry best practice is to allow controlled movement with loops or offsets. Question 27. Given the circumstances of a hydronic heating system in which Richard observes repeated pressure relief valve discharge, what is the most probable underlying cause? A. Circulator pump cavitation. B. Thermal expansion in a closed system. C. Undersized relief valve piping. D. Partially closed balancing valve. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Enclosed hydronic systems, heated water expands, raising pressure without a properly functioning expansion tank. Relief valves open. ASHRAE STD 90.1 guidance. Cavitation may causes noise and flow loss, but not overpressure. Undersized relief piping C may restrict discharge, but doesn't cause repeated lifting. Balancing valve D affects flow, not static pressure. Question 20. While examining an HVAC condensate drain connected to a high-efficiency furnace, Liam notes gurgling noises and slow drainage. Which adjustment best addresses this? They increase the slope to 1.2 inch per foot. B. Install a condensate neutralizer. C. Add a vent or air gap to the drain line. D. Switch to a larger drain diameter. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Gurgling suggests siphonage. Adding a vent prevents vacuum lock. IPCA 802.1.8. Increasing slope A beyond recommended 1.814 in feet may cause excessive velocity without solving siphonage. Neutralizer B addresses pH, not flow. Larger diameter D may reduce velocity, allowing build-up and still not solve the siphoning. Question 29. By evaluating fixture unit demand for a commercial restroom with multiple lavatories, urinals, and a service sink, which factor most directly influences supply pipe sizing. A. Total number of fixtures only. B. Water pressure available at source. C. Length and friction losses in piping. D. Type of trap seal used. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Pipe sizing per IC table E. Point 3 considers fixture units length and friction loss. Excessive losses require upsizing. Number of fixtures A is part of fixture unit count but not sole factor. Supply pressure B matters, but pressure loss from friction is the determining factor for size. Trap seal type D for DW supply sizing. Question 30. The fundamental question is, in installing a propane gas line for a rooftop HVAC unit, James must ensure compliance with NFPA 54. Which practice is correct? A. Running CCSE directly across the roof without support. B. Installing drip legs near appliance connection. C. Using uncoated steel pipe exposed to weather. D. Omitting pressure test if factory protested. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Drip legs sediment traps per NFPA 54 sec. 9.6 captured breast moisture. CCSDA must be supported protected from UV. Uncoated steel, C. Corrodes outdoors. Pressure testing, D. is always required before service connection regardless of protesting.